Welcome to the Martial Arts of Sale. Hope everyone's having a great day. It's a beautiful evening here in El Paso, Texas. This is part 2 of a 7-part series that I put together in building a solid and strong foundation so that you could become a more dynamic and world-class salesman. Part number 1 was basically building the mindset, building the right sales foundation. And then part 2 is more of the action. I call it the sales process. There's a 3-step process in step number 2. Now for the introduction. Step number 2, I call it the sales process, my straight line method. Before we get into the topic, hit the subscribe button below. If you like the video, smash the like button and share the video with others. This is part 2 of a 7-part series that I put together in how to build a strong sales foundation so that you can become a much more dynamic and world-class salesman. Part 1, what I talked about was building the right sales foundation. Is basically building your mindset, your right attitude. Part 2 is the sales process, is the action of part 1 through my straight line method. Now there's 3 steps in part number 2, all right? So you might have heard some of this in previous videos, but I'm gonna dig into it a lot deeper, put more meat on the bone so that you can have a lot more to chew on, okay? Now let's get this going. It's a beautiful day here in El Paso. I love what I do. I think you guys figure that out. But what I want to talk about before we do get into the topic, I'm here to tell you that I don't believe a crisis took place, even though it did. What I mean by that is I took that crisis as an opportunity to be better at what I do, fix my sales process, fix my business process, work on some things that I was overlooking. So for me, a crisis is always an opportunity to do better. And I hope you feel the same way. Check this out, guys. Part 2. So I got my little cheat notes here. All right. So part 2, sales process, the straight line method, how to close and convert more leads into sales. Now this is where the value is. Step number 1 is what I call the opening, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a text message, whether it's an email or a direct message. The opening of any dialogue, any conversation is the most critical. Why? Let me tell you why. Number 1 is you will earn credibility or trust from the get-go. What you say and how you say it is going to determine whether people want to go with you or not. Okay? The second thing is this. You're going to have a perceived value. You and I both know when we meet new people, we always have a perception about them, right? So at the end of the day, is whether it's a phone call, a text message, even content you put on social media, people have a perceived value on you. Basically, you're building your brand, good, bad, or different, whether you realize that or not. So keep that in mind, guys. Number 3 is you will set the tone for the relationship, how the phone call is gonna go, how the text message is going to go if you're communicating text message. Me personally, I don't really like texting, but I know it's one of the tools that we need to use. I'm a phone guy. You know, I like speaking with people because they reveal to me more about the words they use so that I can know and understand them better. Does that make sense? Then the other one is you must absolutely show excitement on the opening because people buy excitement. Try and buy somebody who talks like this. How about somebody who's excited? You buy into that, right? We all do, because people like to feel emotional. People like to be excited. So you must do that in the opening. No, the other one is what you say and how you say it is very critical. You and I could have the same script, the same dialogue, but I may tell a better story with the same words than you, or vice versa. So what you say and how you say it is very critical to the opening of the call or the opening of the text message, direct message, email. It doesn't matter. It's very critical that you take control from the get-go. Okay, so number 2 is the body or the storytelling of the call. Whether you like this or not, everyone, including you and me, love hearing good stories. Let me give an example. I'm pretty sure most of you go to the movies, right? I don't. I haven't been to a movie in 15 years. But I love a good story. So when you go to the movies, you're going there because you want to see a good story. When you listen to music, you're listening to a good story. It gets you dancing, it gets you emotional. Sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you get it on, right? The point is this, we all like to hear stories. So the body of the call or the text message or the direct message or the email has to be in a storytelling format. Now, what are the steps in that? Number 1, what it's going to do in the storytelling is going to help you increase your value if you do it right. There's a lot to storytelling. Number 2, you got to develop a strong storytelling mindset. Through the storytelling, what you're going to be able to do is understand the customer's needs and wants, what their problems are, how you have the solution. When they give you an objection, you got to know how to deal with it with a right rebuttal, right? But you also have to understand the difference between an objection and a buying question. The other one is you start to reveal how professional you really are or not. A customer starts to sense that because you're a customer just like me. And I know when somebody's giving me the BS. There's a saying in the sales business, don't bullshit a bullshitter. I don't consider myself a bullshitter, so I really don't like that phrase. I just like to keep it real, so just keep it real with me. Does that make sense? So, reveal your professionalism. The other one is you solidify your trust and your value. Because here's the thing is, customers buy into you first, or me, right? I'm a customer. I want to trust the other salesperson that they're telling me the truth, that they're valuable to helping me, whether it's my social media, whether it's my other businesses. The fact is, that's what you have to establish in the storytelling. I call it the body. It's called peeling the onion. That's when you build the relationship. Does that make sense? The other one is you have to identify to the customer the problems they may have that they're not aware about, and the problems that they do have that they're revealing to you, that you understand those problems. And here's the thing is, once you identify that, you better be able to provide solutions. Like going to a doctor and he's doing his diagnosis and he's got nothing for you. No medication, or he tells you, sends you to somebody else, right? You feel rejected, right? At the end, all the customer cares about is that you can solve their problem and that they can trust you. That's the bottom line. The other one is, here's the most important part. 90%, in my experience, deals are either lost or closed in the body. What happens is most people are afraid to ask for the order. At the body is when you really are closing the deal or you're losing the deal. It's your job as a professional salesman to understand when you're losing it and how to get it back on track. If you don't know that, you never ever are going to be consistent in sales. You never ever are going to be a top salesman, whether it's in your organization, a call center, or anywhere in the country. You never make it. The other one is this. You have to prepare during this call for a potential follow-up call, which means after the first phone call or the first text message or email message, direct message, how you present it, how you end it, I call it a box close, is going to determine how solid is that follow call. So the initial call in the body is the most important. Step number one, the opening, is the most valuable because you can't get to the body unless you get through the opening, right? Does that make sense? So understand that one has to follow the other. The transition has to be on cue. Then the customer buys into the solution, buys into your system, buys into you, more importantly, and then owns the product. They have to want to own it. That's what you have to do and accomplish in the body. Now the third part is what I call the 3 C's. I'm always in most videos going to talk about the 3 C's. Why? Because that's where the money's at. Closing. If you do step 1 and 2, closing, it becomes easier. For me, closing is more of a telephone transaction. Okay? Being able to tell the story with your words, that they can see a picture. It takes a lot of skills. That's why I say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Closing over the telephone. Number 2 is converting leads from social media into sales. And then number 3 is creating opportunities, creating leads and creating sales when no one else saw it, but you created that opportunity. Now, what happens with number 3 is you will increase your closing and conversion ratio exponentially with the straight line method. Absolutely. It'll blow your mind away how many more deals you're going to close consistently than you could ever imagine. Then you develop win-win profitable relationships. Then here's the best part. Don't be afraid of this. In the closing, not only did you get the order and build a win-win situation, but also ask at that point that you will like 3 to 5 referrals when they see the solutions to their problem. Get that beforehand. Most people are afraid to ask for referrals. For me, for every customer I close, I'm going to get at least 2 referrals minimum. I put that in my deal all the time. Then the other one is, you're going to love this, guys. How would you like to increase your bank account? Deposit is what it's all about. How would you like to cash that check knowing you did the right thing for your customers? That's what it's all about for me. I always focus on the process. I never focus on the credit card. I never focus on the wire transfer, whatever it is. I always focus on the customer and the sales process so I can increase my value, so I can close the deal and get paid. Now, here's what happens when you increase your bank account. You're increasing your monthly cash flow, your sales volume. And to me, this is the ultimate, personally, is I want to know when I hang up the phone, or I send the last text message, or the email message, or whatever the case may be, that when they send me the money for my services, that they know that I'm valuable to them. I want to make sure that I'm becoming an asset to my customers, that I'm valuable to them, that they can count on me, that they can come to me, that I will get their back. That's what it's all about. That's what a true professional salesman is. That's what a world-class salesman thinks about. And that's what a dynamic salesperson winds up leading to. Does that make sense? So, I hope this has been helpful. This is part 2 of a 7-part series. I want to thank you for being part of the martial arts of sales. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, you know what to do, guys, right? All right, just hit the subscribe button below. You want to hit the notification so that you know when the next video hits. And also, if you think this video can help somebody that you know that needs help, share it with them. And also, finally, do share your comments because I do appreciate that. So, till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. This is Paul Cruz with the Martial Arts of Sales. Have a fantastic day. Bye now.